You certainly know this feeling, that meeting of souls, that connection that seems to transcend time and words, a gaze that lays you bare, a presence that makes you feel at home, a certainty in your chest that this person was destined for you. It is one of the most powerful feelings in existence. But tell me, with the honesty of a prayer whispered in the dead of night, what happens when this destiny is not reciprocal? What happens when all the intensity that burns in your chest meets an ocean of indifference in the other? When, despite everything you feel, the other person simply doesn't choose you? This pain, this confusion, this feeling of not being enough, I want you to understand that this is not a punishment from God. It is a calling, an urgent divine alarm for you to stop looking outward and finally understand the most important spiritual law of your life, the law of the divine mirror. The people who enter and leave your journey are not an accident. They are an echo, a relentless and precise reflection of the relationship you have with the most sacred work God created, you. If you feel ignored, rejected, and devalued on the outside, it is because, somewhere deep inside, you have allowed your divine worth to be forgotten. Stay with me, because the truth that God will reveal to you today is not to change the one who rejected you. It is to awaken who you truly are. And when that awakening happens, you will no longer need anyone to choose you, because the most important choice of all, God's choice, was already made before the foundation of the world. And you will finally agree with him. For your entire life, you were made to believe that love is a conquest, that you need to be good enough, interesting enough, beautiful enough to be chosen. And you believed it. You strived, you gave your best, you loved enough for two, you cared, you forgave, you waited. And in return, you received crumbs, scraps of attention, pieces of affection. And your heart, hungry for the banquet God promised you, grew accustomed to living on leftovers. You ask yourself, why do I always attract people who don't value me? And God answers you today, because you have been accepting a lesser worth than the one I gave you. The law of the divine mirror is simple and relentless. What you accept from others is a direct reflection of what you believe you deserve. If in the depths of your soul you do not feel worthy of God's love, you will attract people who reflect that lack of worth. If you treat yourself with harshness and criticism, you will give the world permission to treat you the same way. If you abandon yourself to care for others, you will attract those who will abandon you at the first sign of trouble. This is not about blame. It is about awareness. In the spiritual realm, like attracts like. A spirit that feels broken will attract broken relationships. A spirit that feels needy will attract emotional predators who feed on that neediness. Your loneliness, your emptiness, is not a sign for you to find someone to complete you. It is a divine sign for you to return to the source that created you and be filled by Him. Because when you are filled with the Father's love, a love that does not fail, betray, or abandon, something miraculous happens. You stop begging for love and become love itself. Your energy changes, your frequency rises, and the divine mirror begins to reflect a new image. People who once felt comfortable with your neediness now feel uncomfortable with your wholeness, and they drift away without you having to push them out. If this revelation is making sense in your soul, if you feel the touch of God in these words, then let this message reach other wounded hearts. Like this video so the message spreads. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to continue receiving God's guidance for your life. Be part of this spiritual awakening. I want you to imagine two people praying for a relationship. The first one prays like this: God, please send me someone. I can't stand the loneliness anymore. I will do whatever it takes. I will change whatever is necessary. Just don't leave me alone. The energy of this prayer is one of fear, neediness, and desperation. She is not seeking a partner. She is seeking a savior, someone to fill the void that only God can occupy. As a result, the law of the divine mirror will bring her exactly that: relationships that reflect her desperation. People who sense her need and use it. Partners who demand that she change to be loved. Unstable connections that only deepen her original fear of loneliness. Now, Imagine the second person. After much pain and disappointment, she changes her prayer. God, teach me to be happy in your company. Teach me to love the person you created. Restore my worth, heal my wounds, and make me so complete in you that anyone who comes into my life will be merely an overflow of the joy we already share together. The energy of this prayer is one of trust, abundance, and wholeness. She is no longer seeking to be filled, she is seeking to overflow. And what will the law of the divine mirror bring her? Relationships that reflect this wholeness. People who are attracted not by her need, but by her light. People who don't want to fix her, but to build alongside her. Connections that are not born from the fear of being alone, but from the joy of being together. Do you see the difference? It's not about what you ask for, it's about from where you ask. As long as you operate from a place of emptiness, you will attract emptiness. But when you stand firm on the rock of God's love for you, the outside world has no choice but to realign with this new truth. The wrong people aren't a punishment, they are a diagnosis. They are the symptoms that point to the inner wound that needs to be healed by God. Be grateful for the diagnosis, but decide today to begin the treatment. This brings us to the most liberating paradox of all. What you stop chasing comes to you. The act of running after someone, of trying to convince them, of trying too hard to be noticed, is an act of profound spiritual disbelief. It is telling God without words, Father, the work you did in me is not good enough. The worth you gave me is not magnetic enough. I need to force it. I need to control it. I need to guarantee it. And this energy of control, of anxiety, repels the blessings God has for you. True love, the love that comes from above, does not need to be forced. It flows. It happens. It finds you. But it only finds you when you stop running and learn to be still. When you learn to trust that your life, your wholeness, and your joy in God are the greatest magnets in the universe. Letting go isn't giving up. Letting go is the greatest act of faith there is. It is saying, God, I trust your timing. I trust your plan. And above all, I trust in the worth you have placed in me. I will focus on watering the garden of my soul, on becoming the person you have called me to be. And I know that in due time the right butterflies will come. When you live from this place of trust, your energy becomes irresistible. You stop worrying if someone stays or goes, because your security is no longer in people, it is in God. And ironically, it is this divine self-sufficiency that attracts the people who most want to stay. Because no one wants to be responsible for filling another person's void, but everyone is drawn to a life that is already full. Stop trying to hold the handful of sand so tightly. Relax your hand. Trust. Focus on God. Focus on you, and watch how what is yours by divine right will find its way into the palm of your hand without you having to crush it. For years you looked in the mirror and saw what others said about you. The one who abandoned you, the one who criticized you, the one who didn't choose you, and you called this distorted image me. Today, God is shattering that mirror. He is handing you a new mirror, the mirror of His truth. And in this mirror, you don't see your mistakes. You see His redemption. You don't see your flaws. You see His strength. You don't see a rejected one. You see a chosen one. The law of the divine mirror culminates here. The love you build within yourself, in intimacy with God, will be the love the world inevitably reflects back to you. The respect you give yourself becomes the only form of treatment you accept. The peace you cultivate with the Father becomes the atmosphere of your life. So the question is no longer whether someone will come to give you what you deserve. The question is, will you finally give yourself the worth that God has already given you? Will you continue looking outward, dreaming of a Savior, or will you look inward and awaken to the power that already resides in you? The love you so desperately seek is not missing. It is already there, inside you, waiting to be discovered and activated. And when you activate it, your life changes. Your relationships change. Your future changes. If this message has awakened you, I want you to perform a prophetic act. Comment below with the declaration that will change your life. I honor the God who lives in me. It's not about choosing yourself. It's about honoring the choice God has already made for you. Share this message with someone who needs to stop looking at the broken mirror of the past and start seeing the reflection of God's glory. Your journey to attracting true love begins now, not out there, but in here. Excellent. I'm immensely happy that the new version has connected with your vision. Now that we have the soul of our message defined, let's dress it with all the potential for reach and impact it deserves. We now move to phase 3, the creation of all the promotional materials that will make this video not just watched, but also found, shared, and remembered. If this message awakened something in you, don't keep this truth just to yourself. Like the video so the algorithm will show it to more people who need this awakening. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any revelations. And most importantly, I want to make a commitment with you. Comment below, "I honor the God who lives in me," to seal this decision in your life. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and we'll see you in the next message.